Good afternoon, Facebook. This is Tony Martinez, broker of Xtreme Realty Team, and welcome to another edition of Real Estate Talk Live. So we're here in sunny Florida.
Sunny?
Okay, maybe
Wet
not
Florida.
so wet Florida. In fact, our office is now lakefront.
You didn't know that when you were leasing here, you were getting lakefront property.
I mean, it's amazing. You know that the world is almost coming to an end when Sawgrass Mills is closed. For those of you who don't familiar, it's one of the biggest malls in the country, and it is completely closed today because it is flooded. So we have some serious weather going on, but this morning we decided that the show what?
The show must go
Must
on.
go
Listen,
on.
Snow, sleet, rain, whatever it is, we're going forward. It's Facebook Live, no matter what.
No, man. We get some snow down here, brother. I'm out
That's
there
definitely
playing.
end of- that's definitely end of days,
I'm
right?
doing the snow angels out there. You can go ahead and carry the show. But listen, first and foremost, I have to introduce Omar Arcia here. He is our legal counsel and our co-host here today. And a special shout out to both my granddaughter, who is graduating from the 5th grade today. I missed it. I know, I'm terrible, but the show. And my son, Tony Jr., also graduates today. So big day in the life of the Martinez clan.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Going to middle school next year, the next step. So listen, thanks for joining. So here's the way this works. This is unscripted. Half the time we have no idea what's going to come out of our mouths, which always keeps us on edge, right?
That's a beautiful thing about Facebook Live.
Yeah, and that's why I always have my attorney next to me so he can just throw it and say, you can't say that. But the way it works is we want as much audience participation as possible. The show is scheduled to go an hour. It may go a little less, it may go a little more. You know why? That's what one of the liberties that Facebook gives us. So we're going to start our segment today, or our show today, with our Ask Our Lawyer segment, because we also have a very special guest here today. We have Juan Carlos Garcia that's going to talk about two things. We're getting 2 for 1 today. We're talking about home inspections and do's and don'ts and what to look for and what doesn't matter and what's important. And a big part of today's show is going to be about the Y-Green program, which is really something exceptionally interesting, especially now with hurricane season officially.
We're 15 days away from hurricane season starting.
Yeah?
Right.
I thought it was June 1st, brother.
No, isn't it June 20th?
No, June 1st.
I confused that with my son's
Did you
birthday.
just get something wrong? Did you guys get that on film? It's not a legal question, so I can't hold you to it, huh?
It's just a factual.
Oh, man. But technically, I got you. I got you.
All right.
Okay, all right. Man, I'm feeling good. All right. So listen, we've been
Even with all this rain, I made you feel good.
I know. What is it about? I told you to go get some boots, and you said you couldn't get boots.
I couldn't get boots. I went to buy boots at Walmart, and Walmart was flooded.
They should have a kiosk. That just ain't right.
I couldn't get out of the car to get rain boots because it was flooded.
Between that and sawmills being closed, it could be the apocalypse.
Hey, we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. All right, so listen, you took some questions kind of like off show that you want to go ahead and talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, right?
We had some great questions after the show last time.
All right,
that
go
I
ahead
wanted
and
to address.
tell them. I'm going to go check and see
I would
what's
love,
going on.
I would love to see some more questions during the show because that's the whole point of Facebook Live, and they kind of putting me on the spot
Absolutely. I love that part.
you know, kind of testing my legal muscles, if you will. But we had some great questions after the show last time that I want to address, and I wanted to bring to the attention of the folks listening and watching. These are all great questions. The first one has to do with selling a home with unpermitted additions, and that happens unfortunately a lot more than we want to see happen, especially in South Florida, unfortunately. The problem that we have here with that type of question and in terms of what a homeowner can do is if you purchase a home with unpermitted additions and you've blown the inspection period, in other words, you're beyond the 15-day or whatever contractual time period for inspections where you can cancel the contract, if you've gone past that period and if the parties have not agreed with respect to any changes as a result of unpermitted additions, then unfortunately you're kind of on the hook for any repairs associated with those unpermitted additions. The new FAR contract gives you, as a home buyer, a tremendous amount of latitude to get from the seller anything related to any unpermitted work, any open permits, any work that's being done on the property. And I encourage the real estate professionals that are watching and listening right now to advise their clients, their customers, advise them that if there's any possibility of any unpermitted additions, any possibility of any unpermitted work or construction going on in the property. Get as much information as possible. The new contract allows you to get not only the information regarding open permits, but allows you to get any information regarding any contractor that is doing any work on the project. And I think that you should take full advantage of that so that you become apprised of what's going on. You should also try to get a survey of the property to ensure that any work is being done within the boundaries of the property. And that kind of leads me to the next question.
Okay.
Right? The next question that we had was an excellent question from one of your agents.
Okay.
And it says, we have a question about property boundaries. A house has a screened-in porch going about several inches over the property line into the neighbor's property.
Okay.
The screen was there when they bought the house, and the owner assumed that after so many years it was automatically part of his property.
The neighbor assumed this.
Right. So no, well, the owner assumed it. The owner of the property that had the porch going into the neighbor's yard,
right,
assumed that, hey, if the neighbors don't complain,
okay,
then that becomes part of my property,
okay,
right?
Yeah,
so it's a new neighbor comes in,
and
then he puts in a complaint to the city. The city fines the owner, the trespasser, who ignores the fine for a couple of years. Now, what's the best way for this homeowner to proceed? Because you've got now a situation where you've got a screened-in porch that was largely ignored for a long period of time, and now does it become part of your property? The answer is no. It doesn't become part of your property. I mean, there's this belief that if you construct something or build something beyond your property lines and then it's ignored by someone else, then it automatically becomes part of your property. You would literally have to go to court and get a determination from a court as to that, I haven't seen a single case where a judge would allow a construction over that property line to become part of your property. This is the key to getting a good survey of your property before you purchase it.
So that brings up a point about surveys. So in a cash transaction, a survey is not mandatory. When it's financing, absolutely. Now there are some scenarios where, say cash, the buyer says to save some money, they just go to the seller and say, hey, listen, just let me have the last survey you used. How great an idea is that?
That is probably that's survey suicide, right? It's survey suicide. You want to be able to get an updated survey because God knows what many additions have been made from the last survey that was done, and any unpermitted addition, like we talked about before, needs to be taken care of with an after-the-fact repair. So unfortunately for this neighbor that we're talking about, they're probably going to have to do an after-the-fact, and they're going to have to make the repairs that are necessary to bring that screened-in porch within their property lines. And they're probably going to have to pay the fines to the city for having that unpermitted, or that because obviously the city would never have approved a permit for that porch if it was into someone else's property.
Now, in terms of the homeowner that has the violation, if they were to go ahead at this point, but the only thing they can do is take it down.
Right.
Okay. They go ahead and they take it down. Isn't there a good likelihood that they'll be able to go to the city, and the city will either significantly reduce the penalties or waive them altogether? There is that possibility, right?
Right. If you do an after the fact, show them that you've torn it down, you've done it with a licensed contractor, you've done it properly, or you have an intention of rebuilding it within the property boundaries. In other words, if you show good faith to the city that you're doing everything now in accordance with their guidelines and within the city codes, then there's a good chance they'll waive the penalties altogether, and you just have to pay for an after-the-fact permit, which is a little more expensive than a regular permit.
Now, is that something that they should attempt to negotiate on their own, or bring in someone like yourself as an attorney to help them?
Usually the general contractor that's going to do the after-the-fact can go to the city and probably work out something with them as far as the cost of the after-the-fact permit. Usually you don't need an attorney to do something like that. But we always request that at least you get advice from an attorney on issues like that. If you have any questions, it's a great forum to do it.
Absolutely.
So I would encourage anyone that's listening or watching right now, send in your questions. We've got a lot of different ideas that we can provide you so that you can avoid the cost of going to an attorney's office and the time of going to an attorney's office. I got another question here from your folks after the last segment. And it has to do with deposit disputes. How do we deal with security deposit disputes? At least under the FAR bar contract, as far as we know, you have 10 days from the date of the dispute regarding the disbursement of the deposit to resolve it amicably within the buyer and the seller. If they can't resolve it within those 10 days, then it goes to mediation.
Right.
If they can't resolve it at mediation within 30 days, then the party claiming the deposit can initiate a lawsuit to recover that deposit. During that time frame, or the party holding the deposit can initiate something called an interpleader action to basically ask the court and say, hey, we're holding $20,000.
Yeah.
Court, let us know to whom we should send this deposit to. Should we send it to the seller or to the buyer? But we don't want to be held liable for holding the deposit in property.
And normally that type of action will be taken by a title company that's holding it because they cannot disperse it. So what we try to advise people out there is try to work it out, because the interpleader action alone is going to cost anywhere from $1,100 to $1,500.
It's going to cost a lot more than that.
Right, and that's going to come off the top of the money that's in deposit.
Right.
So, there's nothing to be gained by lawyering up, in this kind of scenario, is try to work it out. But when you can't work it out, then there is a process involved there. One of the ways I think that a couple things I'm sensing is that maybe we should have a segment in the future about surveys, because we can bring in a professional survey company here and talk about some of the things that go wrong and what people do and do not do.
I think that's a great idea.
So let's see if we can put something on top maybe for next week. But folks, what we want to do is get you to go ahead and type in your questions. Our segment is almost done as far as with Omar, because we're going to go ahead and segue in. And what happens is, if I don't see the question on the same group that we're in right now, I don't know. Because what happens, people say, there's a question, I'm going, great, where is it? Oh, it's been handed to me, which maybe if I could just go over here and get it. We're good.
We have a top production crew that's putting this together.
Yeah. Okay. It's a low budget. We put that budget into marketing.
Well, listen, our production crew usually are 12 or 15 people that we have in our production crew usually is in here early and setting up all the lighting and all the microphones and everything.
There's a lot that goes into this, folks. You wouldn't believe it.
But today they had to wade in. They had they brought their boats and canoes.
Yeah, we
only got one or two people.
We got to come a little slack here. So the question here: a buyer paid the good faith deposit with a bad check, then canceled the purchase. The seller wants the deposit. How can the seller proceed? I mean, there's all kind of felonies written in here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You want to take that one?
I'll be honest with you. This is one of the most notorious scams going on right now. It's basically a false cashier's check for a security deposit. The money doesn't exist. So the way that we deal with it from the title company's standpoint is we send out a letter to the seller indicating to them that, hey, we've received a check for X amount of dollars of security deposit. Subject to clearance, these funds are here and it'll be applied towards the deposit. So what if it doesn't clear? What if it's a false check? Then unfortunately there's no money there. So I've seen situations where the seller wants to come after the security deposit or wants to come after the title company for money that's never there.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. So your claim is really against the buyer that gave a false deposit for fraud and the inducement, because you took your house off the market for all that time period where you could have had a real buyer come in and make you an offer and take the property, especially if you turned away deals.
One of those things are, sorry, I always get choked up when I'm around you.
Yeah, I know.
So one of the ways that we try to make the show special is not just point out the problems that are out there, but solutions, right? So from a broker's perspective, I would say the best way a real estate agent can protect their seller is on the contract put all deposits should be wired funds only.
Exactly. That's probably the easiest way and the most effective way to ensure that the deposit is actually received. I can't tell you how many times. And another scam that's going on right now is not just with title companies, but it's sending these deposits to attorneys' trust accounts.
Okay.
And that can create a significant problem, because a cashier's check that's drawn against a trust account, and obviously the attorney now sends the money from the trust account that doesn't exist to the title company, now you've overdrawn your trust account. That's an automatic bar violation. So you can lose your license doing something like that. So I guess what I'm trying to send, the message I'm trying to send to the real estate professionals out there is, guys, put your your signals on and be aware of these types of scams that are going on, because it's very, very obvious. Another type of scam that's going on right now, and I talked to you about this, is a land trust scam.
Oh, tell me about that one.
Yeah. So what's going on is I've had like at least 3 people come into my office in the last 2.5 weeks with a land trust transfer. And what attorneys are telling people that are in foreclosure is, hey, just title the property over to this land trust that we're going to create. And obviously they can't foreclose on your property if you've titled it to someone else. The answer is that's ridiculous, okay? Because they've started the foreclosure action. They're foreclosing on the property as of the date of the foreclosure action. You can transfer it 20 times if it's post-list pendants. If it's post-foreclosure, it doesn't matter how many times you transfer it. The court is going to be able to complete that foreclosure against the initial owner of that property. And I don't care what that land trust is going to do. As a matter of fact, transferring it to a land trust, the only thing that it accomplishes is now there's probably a less likelihood that you're going to be able to modify your loan or defend the foreclosure, because you've got a cloud on title, and you've got the person that owns it is no longer the borrower, so they can't really do a loan modification anymore because you have to attest that you're the owner.
Amazing.
And then you also can't really do any kind of negotiation with the bank because you're not the owner of the property, and you've lost all your defenses because a land trust doesn't have defenses under a contract that only the borrower signed.
Amazing. Well, folks, this is why this gentleman here is our legal counsel. So today's Ask Our Lawyer segment, unless there's another question for the, okay, so we got about 2 minutes more. Let me go ahead and, okay. But why is it on your phone?
It's not coming up on your phone.
It's not coming on mine?
You must have had some water damage.
Okay. Am I supposed to look, without my glasses, I'm supposed to see this?
I mean,
yeah, you go ahead and take this.
All right, even I'm having trouble seeing it.
Okay. I got my glasses, man.
All right. A couple doesn't homestead, and after several years, taxes are twice as much as any other home. Can new owners challenge the taxes so that they're more in line with the neighboring homes? Well, that's a great question for
the property appraiser.
For the property appraiser.
Marty Kerr's
right?
office, yeah.
So I think that would be a great
not a
question
legal
for him.
question.
It's really
that's
not something that I could answer, really from the standpoint of a legal perspective. I mean, I'm sure that if you contact the Broward County Property Appraiser's office, they can probably give you some very good guidance on that. And I kind of, that's a little bit above my pay grade, if you will.
Yeah, in fact, we just had Marty Kerr out here. He's amazing. So if it's a Broward County property, just go ahead and go to bcpa.net, get the contact information, and
email him to me. According to what he told us, email me directly.
Yeah.
So his email is right on that website. He answers every email. At least his staff answers every email. So this is a great question to get it kind of from the horse's mouth, if you will.
Absolutely. So, Omar, how can they reach you should they have any questions regarding any aspect of purchasing, investing, all the legal aspects?
I'm glad you asked that question, Tony. That's what you're here to ask, an important question, right?
Yeah.
You can reach me at 954-437-9066. 954-437-9066. If it's something that I can handle kind of on the fly and can help you out pretty quick, I'm not going to even have you come in. I'll just try to help you out. I just did that for one of your agents today, and we kind of threw a Hail Mary pass, and it was caught in the end zone.
Awesome.
So we've got that done for him. But otherwise, you can reach me at the telephone number, or you can send me an email and go through my website. It's arcialawfirm.com, ARCIA lawfirm.com, and on that website you can contact us. Click on the Contact Us button and send us an email, whatever question you have. If you want to do an appointment, whatever you want to do, we can set that up for you. 954-437-9066. Anything real estate related, closings, litigation, anything along those lines, we're there to help you.
Yeah, regardless of the company you're with, consumers, Omar is the man. And I'm gonna go ahead and close on a very, very important question, very important note. What do you think of my ex cufflinks, man?
That's pretty impressive.
Can you zoom in on that? I wonder what the, don't even touch it. I don't even know what the X stands for, right? Xtreme.
Extreme.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should I put an E in front of it?
No, I think
No,
with
it's- okay.
the X.
And the X is good. Omar, thank you so much. I know you got to go out there and go help some folks here, so but thank you so much.
I'm
Be
gonna,
safe
I'm gonna
driving out
try
there,
to
okay?
wade through the water back out of here.
Need
and,
some help, let me know, okay? I'll
all
carry you out there, brother. All right.
Take care.
We'll
Good
see
seeing
you.
you.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, folks. All right, next up, we have a fantastic, great general contractors. We good? Everything good there? Gina, you got that worried look on your face that it's just like the production crew goes, what happened?
What happened?
Yeah, so, okay, all right, my man, have a seat here.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you for having me
Listen,
here
thanks
today,
for
man.
coming out. So, listen, we've been working together a long time.
Yes.
Okay, and you're
I feel like
kind
at
of,
home here. This is
wait,
like
what do we
my-
have? Is some water for him?
This is my second one.
Okay, absolutely. There you
Oh,
go.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, listen,
Production is the best.
yeah, we need $1 for that on the way. out.
Okay, we'll do
Okay.
that.
Because this is how we fund the production.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So listen, you're here to talk about two very key things.
Yes.
And it's not often we have someone that can multitask like this. One is you are a certified home inspector.
Yes.
Okay, which is not a title that anyone or everyone can boast in having, right?
Well, what happens is I'm a certified master inspector,
Oh.
and it's about 3 or 4 of us in Broward County. Last time that I checked,
So of all the home inspectors in Broward County,
In Broward County.
there's only
there's less than 5. There's about last time I checked was like 3 or 4 only.
that are certified master
Master
inspectors.
Yes.
Inspectors.
Inspectors.
Instructors. I was thinking about me.
Well, I'm also a home inspector instructor. I teach for the National Association of Home Inspectors. That's why people sometimes see the videos of me on Facebook in Colorado. They think that I'm rich over there camping all the time. No, I'm actually out there working, and then I take an extra day to go out and have some fun.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's divide your appearance into
Yes.
two segments.
Okay.
The first segment is the home inspection side,
Yes.
and then we'll segue into Y Green, which is something I think everybody needs to know about. And my
Yes.
wife and I have personally utilized it, so we can
Yes.
attest to how incredible a program it is. So, from a home inspection standpoint, you real estate agents out there are typically going to be on the front lines of being able to suggest what home inspector to use. And so go ahead and speak to the audience right now. Who is same-day inspections, and what do you stand for? What do you specialize in?
So same-day inspection, the name of the company, same-day, is that we actually turn the report the same day that we perform the inspection. Because of the name,
People think you're going to go out there 5 minutes later.
people think we're gonna go the same day, and we actually get a call once or twice a week. For some reason nowadays, homes still go through the process of the inspection.
Mm-hmm.
They get the inspection, but they don't get the wind mitigation and the 4-point, which are the insurance reports.
Oh.
And we get a call, we need a wind mitigation and a 4-point today because closing is on Friday and we cannot close without it.
Right.
So we still get those phone calls. I've been in the construction and real estate for 16 years. I love the industry. There's a lot of I was listening to Omar, the scams out there, the lack of education. That's why I like to go out.
Right.
And I come here and do the classes for the realtors, and I do the classes at the real estate board. Is because people need to be informed to prevent scams, to
Right.
really have control of the transaction. And the same day, I mean, basically, we educate the realtor, we educate the customer, we provide all the reports. When you call the office asks you, what type of loan does your client have?
Right.
Do you have an FHA loan, BA loan, conventional loan? Because based on that, we know what type of inspection they need. So every call, we actually help the realtor make sure that they're serving the customer correctly. And then we provide the report the same day.
Okay. So, from a perspective is you feel that typically when an inspection is ordered,
Yes.
they ought to just order from the get-go the regular inspection, the 4-point,
Absolutely.
and exactly what is a 4-point inspection?
The 4-point helps the property qualify for the insurance.
Right.
You know, it covers roof, electrical, AC, and plumbing. And in some situations, let's say you have a deficiency plumbing system,
Right.
or the roof is beyond its useful life, it doesn't qualify for insurance. And if it doesn't qualify for insurance, it won't qualify for mortgage.
So let's know that right up front.
So you need to know that right up front. You don't want to have the inspection period pass and 3 weeks down the road find out that you have polybutylene, right? It's a type of plumbing that most insurance companies don't accept.
Right.
Or the roof is way beyond its useful life and nobody will certify that roof. Then at that point there's no insurance and you're already too late into the contract. So then you have to call Omar to see how you're gonna
Yeah,
resolve that.
right. So you do the wind mitigation,
So we do the wind mitigation to get the discounts.
okay?
And as a pre-listing inspector, I have been on inspections on behalf of the listing agent, just to oversee the home inspector for the buyer company.
Right.
And I seen the inspector show up to the property, do the inspection, never talked about a wind mitigation, never talks about, you know, if you don't have a wind mitigation and an insurance company does not bother to recommend you to have a wind mitigation, you actually can have an insurance policy. But guess what? It's going to be the most expensive insurance policy out there.
Right.
Because nobody is telling you which discounts you qualify for. Now here we prevent that, right? Because when we get the call, we qualify. Every inspection that we do, we have the wind mitigation on the 4-point. So we're not only going to look for the deficiencies on the property, but we're also going to look for the benefits for insurance purpose. We're always going to look for those things that will help you lower the cost of that insurance.
Which can more than cover the cost of your services.
Oh, the service will be free by the time we give you the credits.
You know what drives me nuts is when people feel that doing an inspection is optional. Which technically it is,
yes,
but it's got to be one of the dumbest moves that a buyer can make.
So real estate is your biggest investment, right?
Right, most of the time, right?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to evaluate your investment?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy. So look, hold on one second, because I see my production crew stressing out over there. So do you need to zoom in a little bit more because you're showing too much there? All right, so we're bringing in the big guns now. So we had to make a call. Okay. And they just flew somebody out from California to go ahead and zoom the camera in. See?
And they can surf in through the
see how that's working out? And you know what? Okay, you can stop now. Okay. All right. So that's good. See, that's all it takes, man. Just get things done like that. Same day.
Same day.
So you know what? You know, the segment that's listening to this is part real estate professional, part consumer.
Yes.
All right. So I know one thing that real estate agents are very concerned about, and we had a scenario recently where an inspector went out, and it almost looked like this inspector was looking to freak everybody out. Yes. And I understand you're there to protect the buyer and look for things.
Correct.
But it seems like there's some overzealousness, or it's almost like they're on some kind of a crusade to kill the deal. Because one of the things I like about you is when you notice things, you have a way of presenting it to the person. Because everything usually everything has a resolution to it, right?
Absolutely. You know, when I do the class, one of the things that I ask realtors, especially the new realtors, right? If you're aware that real estate is a highly emotional transaction, because it is, right? It is. And the inspection is probably one of those high points. And when we show up for the inspection, we have the in the back it says inspector. Sometimes I feel like it says police. You know, people are looking at me with those big eyes, like, what is he gonna find? But we actually, our team in sending inspection, we have a life coach. Okay. And we go through coaching so we understand how to speak to people, because it is an emotional transaction. Yeah. And sometimes people, because they're already reacting, you know, or predisposition, whatever the word is for when the inspector shows up, they get defensive. Right.
Seller's defensive and buyer's apprehensive.
Correct. So we need to be aware of that and don't take it personal. Right. We need to explain what is it that we're going to do in the process, do our walkthrough, find the things, and then give that information. But it's like you mentioned earlier with Omar. It's not, I'm just not going to give you what is wrong. I'm also going to give you the solutions. You know, this is what is wrong, this is what you can do, this is what can happen. Then we'll go back to the education part. Gotcha. So we're gonna do findings. There's always something wrong. It could be brand new construction, it could be a 50-year-old home. There's always something. But what can be done about it in an efficient way? That's our work, is to explain that.
But one of the things that I try to get across to agents, and one of the things is, I'm not being rude, but what I always ask my guests to do is direct your answers to the camera, because what I normally do is I'm searching for other questions. Okay. So I got all these hats going on here, and it turns out I have to keep refreshing this page to see the questions. But listen, we're in the state of Florida, and you know we have an as-is contract, and the majority of our contracts are as-is. And I'm sure other states have something similar. The problem I see is that buyers are not being well educated by their real estate agents, so that when they do an inspection, they lose sight of the fact that the seller doesn't have to do anything. And then the buyer cops a major attitude and goes after the seller to say, well, you have to, and you have to, and you have to. And that's when a lot of the issues begin. Yes. And a lot of the stuff you find, because you have to note it, are cosmetic issues. And those are things that, those should never be deal breakers.
A lot of it is cosmetic, and you're right. Sometimes the buyers expect for the sellers to do everything, even though the contracts are as is, right?
Right.
I'm not the attorney here.
Yeah.
But I see as is contracts, they're not as is anymore the way that I see it.
Right.
But a lot of the items are cosmetic. And one of the other things that I find a lot of inspection, I usually get that call when an inspection goes wrong by another company, and somebody from the office called to say, Juan, can you please read this report and help us out?
So you're being asked to read the reports of
other
another inspection companies.
Every week.
Yeah. Really?
Every week. And a lot of it, what is happening is you have new licensed home inspectors
Right.
that they do their 120 hours required by the state, but they don't have a background.
No experience.
No experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go and write something out of a book. Doesn't quite work that way.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we see often is home inspectors that start writing, they think they're building inspectors.
Oh.
A home inspector is to do a visual inspection of the physical condition of the property.
Right.
We're not there to do building code. The reason the building department for every city has an electrical inspector, a plumbing inspector, a structural inspector, all those mechanical inspector, all those
Mm-hmm.
inspectors is because building code is so complex.
Right.
It's not possible for one single person to know the code. And now
Gotcha.
you have home inspectors saying electrical plugs are not up to code, are not up to building code. It is not a home inspector's job.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a home inspector's job to say this is not up to building code. And then the buyer wants the seller to start putting the house up to building code. The house does not have to be up to current building code when it's time to sell.
That's huge. Yeah, that really is huge.
Yeah, and I see that a lot.
Okay. So that's worth the price of admission right there. That is both
Yes.
the real estate agent or the real estate agent, the transaction.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it really does come down to, why would you, especially if the buyer is coming to you saying, do you know of any home inspectors that I could potentially call?
Yes.
It should be a narrow list of people that they know, like, and trust, and they've used.
Absolutely.
If you were to go ahead and put a number on it, in the 4 years that we've been working together, between now we're up to about almost 140 agents, how many inspections would you say you've done for our team here now?
For your team,
Yeah, the entire office.
I think we're probably a little close to above 1,000.
Wow.
I mean, our team, we do about 120 inspections a month right now,
You're up to 120 inspections a month.
on average.
Well, how big an area do you cover?
We do Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach.
Wow.
We got 4 inspectors, and that's how many we do. And a big percentage is from you guys, because you guys are like family for us.
Yeah,
We go to the same Christmas party together.
Absolutely.
It just being, like you said, know, like, and trust is key.
It's
and
huge.
we have built a professional relationship besides
A friendship.
a friendship.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this before we segue into the white green. There's
Yes.
one other thing I wanted to talk about, and this could be a huge listing tool, and it
Yes.
could be a way for listing agents to differentiate themselves from the competition, and that is speak to the benefits of sellers having a pre-inspection done.
I'm gonna throw you a bonus there.
Okay.
If you're a listing agent and you want to do a pre-listing inspection, we have an agreement where the seller or yourself, whatever you want to negotiate it, don't have to pay it up front. You can actually sign an agreement and pay that pre-listing inspection at closing. Okay? That's a little
Okay.
bonus there.
Yeah.
Now, what is the big thing about a listing agent having a pre-listing inspection? First, I'm going to give you the negative.
Right.
Because there's a pro and a con and everything. The negative is whatever we find, you have to put on a disclosure. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But now, flip the coin. How many listing agents, and when I do this in a large group, I get a lot of hands. How many listing agents have a deal killed because a home inspector gives them information that he's by surprise?
Mhm.
A lot.
Yeah.
The pre-listing inspection kills that. Now you as a listing agent, you have control of your inspection. Because you have a home inspector that's going to go very detailed through everything. Mainly when we know that we're going to have another inspector after us, try to find things that we couldn't find. So the home inspector does a full home inspection, just for like the buyer, but for the seller.
Okay.
And the purpose of that inspection is for now the seller and the listing agent have all the information on hand to know whether they need to repair something that is going to be critical,
Okay.
or if there's something cosmetic that they're not going to take care of it, but they're going to disclose. And now you have more control of the situation. Now you avoid the renegotiation of that contract price back and forward for a week or two.
Well, yeah, and not only that, the emotional side as well. Because you
Yes.
know what, you got a buyer that goes under contract, not really knowing the condition of the property. They're out $350 to $450 for an inspection. Then this comes back, and everybody goes, now what? And so, listen, it is what it is. If there's issues with the property, why don't we find out now?
Yes.
So that we can come up with a plan.
Yes. And as a listing agent, you're gonna also there's a recent scam going on. I'm gonna be very brief about this.
Okay, please.
Just yesterday, I went to Boca to a house that the buyer inspector showed up with a roofing company, and the roofing company said that the roof has $4,000 in repair damage, that it had 2 active leaks, loose tiles on the ridge, and broken tiles. That house happened to have been pre-inspected.
Really?
And the roof was maintained by a large roofing contractor here from Davie with a warranty. But the roofer that went to do the inspection with the home inspection didn't know that. So when I got a copy of the home inspector inspection and the roofing inspection, it was a scam. The seller said, hey, maybe you guys were wrong and the roofing company was wrong and the inspector found something you guys didn't find. Well, we've seen how much rain we have in the last 2-3 days, right?
Right.
We went yesterday afternoon. There was no leaks.
Okay.
They claimed that there was 2 active leaks. There was no leaks. We sent a guy to the roof. There was no loose tiles, no broken tiles. It was all a scam to try to get $4,000 in roof repairs.
So you got a question?
If that seller would not have the pre-listing inspection, guess what? He would have probably lowered the contract for $4,000.
That's huge. It's huge. So let's do this. As we wind down this particular segment on home inspections and segue into Y-Green, let's do 2 things. One, if you're comfortable, share pricing on what your typical inspection and pre-inspection cost would be.
Okay.
And on, I don't know if you want to mention, hey, if you mention the show, they get a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
A cup of coffee or...
Yeah, like a Starbucks $25 gift certificate.
Yeah, maybe I was, they're probably going to say, can I get a better price if I mention the show?
We can do that too.
We can do that too. Well, think about that. I like putting people on the spotlight.
No,
some people
that's
go,
great.
and I apologize. I should have talked to you ahead of time on that. But what a great way to track where the leads are coming from.
Absolutely.
Is from the show. But what about this? A typical home inspection, including the 3-point and the wind mitigation, what would that normally run in the 3 counties that you service?
The regular price is $450 for a home up to 3,500 square feet.
$450 for up to 3,500 square feet.
Yes. Now townhouses are $300 and condos are $200.
Okay.
We have fixed prices because it makes our life easier and it helps the realtors remember the pricing of the inspections.
Gotcha. And
then you can call our office, which I can give the number right. It's 954-210-7171. Again,
one more time.
954-210-7171. You know, every time I leave a voicemail, I say it twice because of my accent.
You have an accent?
People understand, right?
I didn't know you had
an accent. I didn't know? All right.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put that number on there. I know Gabi's watching, a couple others are watching, so if you can also put that into the comment section there as well, that would be great. What about the pre-inspection? What are they looking at? Same thing, the pre-inspection?
It's the same price.
Same price.
Just mention that you saw on the show and we'll give you an additional 10% off of whatever inspection it is.
That's awesome, brother. All right. Now, we segue to Y-Green.
Segue to Y-Green.
So, look, I'm a pretty busy guy, but there's one person that's got more going on than me, and that's you, brother. So, you undertook this. Okay, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you and say, listen, audience, what is Y-Green? What does it mean? How can it impact? How do you get involved?
I say I am busy. I mean, for me, my business is my hobby. I love it. I really love what I do. The Department of Energy has a program for energy renewable, try to lower, be more efficient. And that's how the program came aboard, and it's called PACE. Now, PACE has been around for, I believe, close to 10 years, or a little over 10 years.
Okay.
Y-Green is the program administrator for PACE. Y-Green is actually a private company that funds the loans for the federal program PACE. Now, Y-Green has been in Miami Shores or North Miami now for like 6-7 years. They've been around in Dade County for a while.
Okay.
Most people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story here. Miami Shore was increasing in price because Y-Green, the contractors going door to door talking about the program. People started doing the impact windows, new roof, new ACs. Then people start taking care of the home, and then they also get all motivated. They start painting.
Right.
The whole value of the community went up. People were saying, no, downtown Miami run out of space, so people moving to Miami Shores. No, that was not the case.
Okay.
Y-Green was there. Properties improved, value improved. When the other cities in Dade County noticed, And Broward County, they're like, oh, hold on. We want in on this.
Okay, makes sense.
But it actually took 4 or 5 years before the other counties or the other cities saw the tax benefit for the city
Right.
and improvement for the city before they would jump into the federal program.
Ooh.
So now last year and earlier this year, Broward County went in, and guess what? Palm Beach is a little bit slow than Miami and Broward. Palm Beach just got approved recently.
Oh, yeah?
One
Okay.
or two cities, and the county has not been approved yet. That's coming soon in a few.
So sometimes the cities lead and then the county follows then.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Palm Beach is a little bit slow, but there and Broward, far I understand, all the cities are already in. But basically, the way that it works,
Okay.
right, shortly, is that let's say you have at least 10% equity in your home, and you want to do impact windows, you want to do a new roof or an AC system, LED, anything that is energy efficiency or for hurricane protection. You can do a loan, and that loan does not go on your credit.
Okay.
That loan goes on the property and is tied to the property taxes. So that's why it is like a tax assessment.
Gotcha.
What's the only thing that has priority over a mortgage lien?
Taxes.
That's why they're so easy to qualify. Because as long as the property has 10%, there's nobody with priority, that's it, they're approved. As long as the homeowner is not on bankrupt and the property mortgage is on time.
Okay, so it's less about credit or very little about the credit. It's more about the equity in the property.
It's about the equity in the property. At least 10%. No bankruptcy in process, no late payments in process, you're approved.
Okay, so now you're not here as a spokesperson for the whole program. It's because
No.
you also have a general contracting company.
Yes, because I'm the owner for Upgrade General Contractors.
Okay.
And I've been in construction now for 16 years. I stopped for a few years just to do inspections. One of the reasons that I had stopped doing general contracting back in like 2012-13 is because I was competing with the guy in the pickup truck. No license, bidding our prices, it was hard. Now Wagner comes along and I'm like, hold on. This is somewhere that I can go back into business because
Right.
not every contractor is a Wagner contractor. We need to go to a qualification process, be certified, and every work that we do has to be with a permit.
Okay.
Now we have a level playing field.
Gotcha.
Now we're not competing with the guys willing to do the work with no permit, non-licensed, non-insured. Because Wagner verifies that our license is up to date, that we have at least, I don't know if it's $1 million or $2 million insurance, but they verify that we have enough insurance coverage, that we have workers' comp, that we are legit.
Okay.
So now we are back into the Wagner program, and we tell people that before they wanted to do impact windows, but they necessarily didn't want to take $15,000, $20,000 out of the savings account or retirement account. Maybe they didn't have the money to do impact windows. Now they can do it and do a loan and choose whether I want to pay 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You choose the term of your payment between 5 to 20.
And it's 100% financing.
It's 100% finance. The person signs the contract. They don't have to give us a deposit. We pull the permit, we do the work, we close the permit, and after everything is done, then Wagner pay us.
Okay, so folks, if you have any questions for Juan regarding, and we can backtrack if you have a home inspection question, but especially anything that has to do with the Y Green program, go ahead and definitely type them in right now so we can get to them. So I gotta believe that somebody's gonna ask, well, listen, I want to remodel my kitchen.
Yes.
So I can go ahead and use it for this, right?
No. Wagner has to be energy efficiency or hurricane protection. Things that are cosmetic or renovation, they don't qualify. So no flooring, no kitchens, no bathrooms, none of that. If you're gonna have a high efficiency water heater, a high efficiency air conditioning, a new roof, because roof actually helps to save energy.
Okay.
And it's also a protection for hurricane. Impact windows, the average discount on impact windows is about $50 a month from your FP&L bill.
Okay.
That's the average. So those type of renovations, they do qualify for white green. Other things that are cosmetic, they don't.
You don't.
And really quick, it's been raining now for a few days, and I think we're gonna get how many more days of rain?
I think till the middle of next week is what I heard, or something like that.
So if you're a realtor and your customer calls you because they have a leak, give us a call. We do repairs, and we can also put a new roof out when it starts raining to the white green program probably.
Okay, so then as far as the process in getting started is, they really have to first find out if they qualify, and it's always best to start with a contractor first, right?
Yes.
They contact a contractor, and your company name is Upgrade General Contractors.
Our company is Upgrade General Contractors, and I usually tell people, just text me your address, I'll put it in our system, and I know right away whether they are pre-approved or not.
Okay.
Once they're pre-approved, the only things remaining to verify is that there's no bankruptcy in process and the mortgage is on time. After that, they're good to go.
So
And usually people know that, right? They should.
Yeah, and so from the time that they first sit down with, say, someone like you,
Yes.
to the point where they know whether they can move forward, maybe just a few days, right?
Yes, we do. When we sit, I go to the house, I measure the roof, measure the windows. Usually next day we come back for the pricing. We can do the application right there at the moment, right there on the spot.
On the spot and find out. Oh, so you'll know you have an answer on the spot.
We actually have a computer system directly with White Green.
Okay.
And if it is on business hours, I have somebody in White Green underwriting that will give me an immediate answer.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So look, just to make sure, because I want to make sure people are going into this making
And that's something new
decisions.
too, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
That is great. Well, you are taking on a debt. You know, it's
Yeah.
not. This is not the government giving you free money or anything else. No, you are taking on a debt. That debt is going to be assessed to the property taxes.
Yes.
It's something that has to be disclosed. If you're going to ever sell the home, it must be disclosed because the person buying it is inheriting that debt.
Well, you brought a good question, a good point. That debt, if you are to sell the house, that debt has to be paid off at closing.
Ah.
If you want to transfer the debt to the buyer needs to be aware, needs to agree, and the buyer's bank needs to approve it.
That's huge.
So don't assume automatically that a debt is going to be transferred. There's a few steps that yes, it can happen, but automatically it doesn't happen. The most common scenario is that loan being paid off at closing.
Okay. That's good, because I was very concerned about that.
Yeah.
And because you can see a scenario where someone says, I got new windows, I got a new roof,
Yes.
as though they paid for it. And then next thing you know, the buyer's saying, yeah, you got to do everything, which I'm paying for.
But I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
What I do for some leasing agents or investors, the benefit for them is that they can increase the value of the property, right?
Well, yeah, that's the next thing I want to talk to you about. Okay, so I don't know if you're able to give round numbers in terms of if somebody is spending, say, $15,000 to
Yes.
get windows done.
Yes.
What kind of a monthly payment might they be looking about, give or take?
The average loan that I see in White Green is about $15,000 to $20,000.
Okay.
The average monthly payment that I see is somewhere between $250 to $280 a month.
Okay.
That's what I see in average.
All right, so let's use the highest number, okay?
Yes.
Because I don't want anybody to accuse us, oh, you were low.
Yeah.
Let's call it $300. It's
Okay.
$300, okay? But there's a savings involved as far as their light bill and stuff, right?
Well, there's a few benefits, right? Let's say the payment is $400.
Okay.
Because if you want to pay it off in 5 years, that payment is going to be higher than if you want to pay it off in 10, 15 years. So let's say you're going to pay
Okay.
$400 a month.
Okay.
When you get that 1099 from your bank at the end of the year, that shows up as a tax assessment. Take that to your accountant, there's a tax benefit there. It's a tax write-off.
Oh, so whatever payments you made on that is...
So for people like Tony that have to pay taxes at the end of the year,
I
you know,
Mm-mm.
it's a benefit right there. Now
Yeah.
you got a tax write-off, so why not? I remember one year that I was doing pretty good in business, and I want to know car payments, I want to know payments on nothing, everything was paid off.
Right,
And at the end of the year when I went, I got penalized by the IRS.
right,
My taxes were a lot higher because I had nothing to write off.
yeah.
So for mainly realtors, you know, self-employed people, it's a tax benefit. You write it off on your taxes.
Okay. Now, the next thing is I just spent, say, $15,000 on windows.
Yes.
Okay, as a consumer, can I assume that the property value has gone up somewhat as a result of putting those on there?
My understanding is yes, but this is a better question for you. You're the
Yeah.
real estate broker. You can
Yeah.
tell better how much value would the house increase having you in by windows.
Yeah, the thing is, when it comes to valuation, it's always a tricky question.
Yes.
Not every dollar you put into an enhancement for the property is rewarded with an equal dollar in kind.
Okay.
But if there's an area that you can say has a strong probability that it can, is
Yeah.
areas like impact windows and everything else.
And roofing.
And roofing. Okay.
Another key benefit. Let's say you didn't have shutters before and you put impact windows. Now we'll give you a wind mitigation report. You send it to the insurance company. The average discount, I believe, is somewhere between $800 to $1,000. Don't take my word for it. Verify with the insurance agent.
Right.
But that's a discount by itself on the windows.
But that's huge. So
Just
it starts to add up.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago, I went to a house in Pembroke Pines. I sent an email to a friend of ours.
Right.
for the insurance quote. I sat down with the client. I'm like, this is how much your insurance is gonna be. She got out how much she was currently paying.
Right.
When she compared the FP&L bill, the insurance bill, and the tax benefit, she was actually gonna pay less money monthly with the white green loan than without doing the improvements.
That's a beautiful thing.
So I was gonna read the contract. She's like, no, let me sign. I'm like, let me explain the contract to you, but I just wanna sign.
Well, you know what? We can go on and on about cost versus this and that. Put a value on, what do you call it, the quality of life.
Oh, yes.
Okay, look, I'll tell you right now, my wife and I just had this done. And every year since I moved here in 1999 from California, and just recently, last year, I went through the whole, because we moved into the house, we didn't have shutters, anything. Man, I was at Depot at the last minute buying whatever lumber they had to put that up. It's an amazing feeling knowing, going into the hurricane season, that we do not have to do anything whatsoever.
Yes.
And put a value on that, you know?
If you have a 2-story home, putting the shutters up there.
I saw my neighbor last time, it was like he was risking his life.
Yes.
It wasn't the accordion shutters, it's the heavy aluminum ones. And the panels, and this thing is 2 stories. I'm looking, I'm going, I don't think I want to do that.
And even some accordions up there, sometimes there could be a little bit dangerous to close from the outside.
Sure.
We had a customer a few weeks ago that I showed up because I always show up unexpected to the houses to inspect the work.
Right.
And the lady saw me and she was so happy because guess what? There was a break-in 3 doors down her house in the city of Pembroke Pines.
Mm-hmm.
And now she felt safer because she have impact windows. And you know, they're not that easy to break in.
You know, we haven't even talked about that. We've been talking so much about, okay, the energy efficiency and everything else, but there's also a security, safety factor as well.
Single mother, live by her house, few doors down, a 16-year-old was sleeping in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody knocked on the door. The girl didn't answer, so the guy broke the glass to break into the house. When she started screaming and yelling, the guys ran out, but they were going to break into the house.
Wow.
3 doors down, so now she feels safer just by having the impact window. So there's a lot of benefits to it.
That's fantastic. Folks, you're here watching Real Estate Talk Live. We're probably in our last 6 to 7 minutes of the segment. We've been honored to have Juan Carlos Garcia here, talking both about the home inspection process because he's co-owner of Same Day Inspection Company. And for the past 20 minutes or so, we've been talking about the Y Green program, which is an amazing, amazing program that allows individuals, homeowners that qualify, let's go ahead and say that homeowners that qualify to get 100% financing for improvements that are energy efficient improvements. So if you have any questions, get them typed in now before the show is over. And what are some of the things that people should be wary of in terms of selecting a contractor? Because South Florida is famous for, in fact, one of my jokes is, this is South Florida, laws are only suggestions.
Yes.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that they should do when evaluating and looking into potentially hiring a contractor?
I get to see so many clients throughout the days that I have a story for everything.
Okay.
Just a few weeks ago, I went to an older lady in North Miami.
Mm-hmm.
She paid $3,000 deposit for a new roof. The guy disappeared, changed the phone, never showed up. She had to call the police and put a cater. So the biggest complaint that I get here for contractors is that they get a large deposit down, and then they don't start working for a month, 2 later. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, which do happen often, they disappear with the money. Verify the license, verify the insurance.
So in the case of Y Green, is there an extra level of protection for the consumer because you have to be? Does the program have some kind of overwatch to it?
In the case of Y Green, it's different because Y Green qualifies the contractors. Y Green makes sure that everything is up to building standards. The building inspectors are there to protect the consumer.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons that I like to do everything with a permit. Because number one, if somebody comes later and says, you didn't do the right job, the building inspector went and checked it. Yes, it is the right thing to do.
So let's make sure with Y Green, everything must be permitted.
Everything has to be permitted. Nothing goes without a permit.
Gotcha.
So that protects you as a consumer. Now the other benefit that they can do is just get different quotes from Y Green approved contractors. call my competition.
Yeah, well, you know what? You bring up a good point. There is no standardized pricing. Just because this is a program that's out there doesn't mean you guys can only charge this much. The pricing can be like anything else. It can be all over the place. So it's a good idea to shop.
One of the things that I do, I do like to help. You know this. I like to help people. I like to educate. We don't charge. Our price is the same price whether we do white, green, or cash.
Okay, that's important.
A lot of contractors, because we do have a fee to pay white, green, they add all the fees to their contract.
Oh.
A lot of contractors, if you get a proposal for white, green job, the price is higher than if you would have paid cash.
Interesting.
And the reason for that is because the contractor has to finance everything out of pocket. So I'm not saying that what they're doing is wrong. What they're doing is the cost of the business, right? But we just decided, we made a company decision that we're not going to increase our price because we're going to do white.
So hold on a second. I think you said something very important. A contractor has to finance it. In other words, white green doesn't reimburse you until the job is done.
Until the job is 100% done, permits are our final close.
Okay, that's huge, man. I mean, think about it. You are the windows. The manufacturer of the windows isn't waiting to get paid.
Correct. I have situations right now, and this happens quite often, right? The factory screws up a window or glass. I think that even happened in your house, right?
Yeah.
The glass.
So yeah, what's up putting non-frosted windows in my bathroom, man?
Hey.
Am I not on air enough already? But
so let's say we have to make an adjustment. We have to make a repair. People are like, I'm in a hurry. Well, believe me, you're not more in a hurry than me.
You want to get paid.
I'm paying your house until I get paid. So
you don't want to pick just any contractor because they have to be well funded.
Yes.
The contractor that's hand to mouth, it's like they're trying to take another job to pay for the job they just had over here, right?
One thing that is illegal in the state of Florida, but happens all the time, is that a contractor is not allowed to take a deposit from one job to finish another job. And they do that.
Enforce that, huh?
Yeah, try to enforce it.
Try to enforce that one.
It happens every day. You get a contractor, gets a deposit, he starts where he's not finished and starts somewhere else.
Yeah.
When we start a job, we have to finish because until we don't finish, we don't get paid.
Okay, man, that's
and I think that's a big benefit for the consumer, even though a lot of people don't even know about it.
All right, so just to be fair, because one can argue, all you've done is say all these great things about the white green program.
Yes.
Is there any negative to it that they should be aware of?
Some people do consider the interest rate might be a little bit high because it could be an average 7%. But again, my point of view is it's a tax write-off, so I'm going to get it back. But upfront, when you see that number, the other thing is it's a loan. At the end of the day, it's a loan. It's not for everybody. I tell people this is not for everybody. I'm not trying to tell you that this is the best program for everybody out there, but for many people, it is a great program.
Well, yeah, so if you have the cash, if you have the disposable income, you have the cash, you have the option of paying cash and not have to pay the interest rate on that loan.
Yes, but I also have situations where the homeowner does have the cash, but he can see the benefit on the tax write-off. So I tell them, consult with your accountant, consult with your CPA, and do what's best for you.
Absolutely. Okay, and this is the point in time when it's a good idea to go ahead and give them your contact information.
Yes.
And how they can reach you. And then do they get to talk to you personally, or have you gotten so big, bad, and bold out there that you just don't take calls anymore?
No, I do take calls. I am a little bit hard on appointments sometimes because my schedule is full.
You got a good team. You can't be at every appointment.
We cannot be at every appointment, but I'll give out my cell phone number.
Okay, write this down, folks.
One thing that I do say, I don't always answer my phone, but I do return every phone call. Sometimes you can send me a text, I'll always respond. Even if it is at the end of the day or next morning, I always respond.
Well, listen, as we were getting the work done in our place, there's issues that came up as they do in everything. And you guys, anytime we went and reached out to you guys, and your team was incretible that came out.
I have people calling me 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Are
you a realtor?
Sometimes I feel like it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sundays at 8 o'clock I get a call or a text.
Yeah.
Don't always answer, but I do always respond.
Gotcha.
But my cell phone number is 954-696-8072. Again, my number is 954-696-8072. Got a question about inspections? Need a quote for roofing, windows, AC? Give us a call.
Great. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for being on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Folks, as we wind down, just a couple of program notes. We are on Wednesdays from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. I can tell you right now that we already have a program set for the 21st, June 21st. We're going to be live at Botanical Weston. So we're going to do our first remote show broadcast, and it's an incredible luxury project here in Weston, Florida, called Botanical. So you're going to definitely want to be on board. But help us to continue to grow the show. We want to grow as organically as possible. How you can contribute to that is share, share, and share. If you see value in the program, share the program with others so that we can continue to build this and continue to bring you this content. As we sign off, just want to thank you for tuning in. Once again, this is Tony Martinez, broker of Xtreme Realty Team. We are here to service all of your real estate needs. We have offices in Lake Placid, Florida, Broward County, Florida, and Miami-Dade County. We have a Brickell office. So if you're here in South Florida or in any area in Florida that's being affected by all this rain, please, please be very careful. And we look forward to seeing you or having you part of the audience next Wednesday. Take care.